Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of dismal Disney. We're going to talk about the story that came out in the Wall Street Journal talking about Bob Iger's successor and how he basically is going to want to babysit them.
Yeah, which we kind of knew was going to happen, but I'm just like, they've learned nothing after what happened with Chapek.
Yeah, because that's actually what happened with Chapek. Chapek was not good enough, did not meet Iger's standards, did things differently. Chapek was never allowed to be his own man. It's basically,
he wasn't allowed to have the office with the shower.
He wasn't allowed to have the good office. He basically was an underling. And Iger, I mean, it's so weird. Everybody blames Chapek. I'm like, Iger never really left, right?
No, and left. I think he kind of sabotaged him, which we've talked about in videos before. We'll probably mention in this one. So they had all the problems they had with the Chapek, the Chapek transition, where Iger was actively undermining him on different things.
Yeah.
According to reports and all this other stuff. And then that went on, and we talked about that. You can see the video for that if you go find it. We did a video on it before. And, so now they want to do the same thing with these people. I'm like, he kind of was even when Chapek went to him about different issues that he was worried about, Iger was using it to leverage his failure to get, and then Dana Walden, who I think he wants as CEO because she's his buddy, was key to him coming back.
So, yeah, and people have concerns about her because she's definitely of a certain political persuasion. And here you were kind of like the other day being like, oh, look, they're having, they're still allowing gospel at Disneyland and certain events,
Well, yeah, and they're trying to walk back that far leftist stuff in their movies and stuff. And she's in charge on that side, the movies and TV shows. She's the one that said we had some really good shows pitched to us, but we had to pass on because it was too white. This is
yes.
her.
Yes.
So it's the white woman. But her division is only a small percentage of what Disney does. Actually, the entertainment experiences division, the parks experiences, that's tomorrow, is the big driver of finances over at Disney. So I think bringing her in as CEO alone would be stupid, short-sighted. Tomorrow would be a better choice, or I ultimately think the co-CEO idea is much better because the company's too big.
Well, let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
If you want to help support the channel, more.clownfishtv.com, more.clownfishtv.com. Going into 2026, we're going to have paywalled content. We're going to be moving more stuff over there because we don't trust YouTube, and neither should you.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they kind of summarized it here on Cord Cutter News. They were talking about the situation, and they said that they're going to prepare to name its next chief executive by early 2026 or in early 2026, marking what the board hopes will be the final chapter in a succession saga that has spanned nearly 2 decades and multiple aborted handoffs.
Yeah, it's aborted because Iger doesn't want to give it up. Iger ultimately, I think things got aborted because of Iger's behavior. And then when they did finally hand it off to somebody, remember for all the meetings initially, Chapek wasn't allowed to speak. Iger was still act like he was CEO of everything.
Yeah.
And I know Chapek was getting mad. He's like, I'm the CEO. He's just like the chairman of the board. What the hell?
People were calling that out. People were like, hey, it seems like Bob Iger is still in charge. Like, why is Chapek even there? And it seems like Chapek wants to speak and Chapek is not allowed to speak. And, they're like, oh, no, it's just whatever. It's like, they're like, no, he stepped away. Yeah, a lot of people are speculating that Chapek was basically the fall guy for the pandemic. He was the pandemic CEO, so Iger could waltz back in and be like, well, now I'm going to fix it. I'm like, no,
he's
actually.
done more damage than anybody, honestly.
He should have stayed down.
His overspending on Fox assets was a huge mistake.
Yeah, that was a huge
He's
mistake.
Constantly, he's just like a douche, and he keeps doing stuff and getting them in trouble. Now Chapek did kind of get him in trouble with the don't say gay, the parental rights education thing.
Well, they think that was getting stirred by Iger because he was out there making comments on Twitter and stuff. And,
but I guess the board told him to just do whatever and stop, don't escalate it, or just don't say anything. And he went all in the other way, and it just ended up with Reedy Creek situation. So it's just like the whole thing's a cluster, but I do think Iger's behind a lot of the problems. So their answer is, hey, we're going to do an apprenticeship under Iger.
Okay. He's not, this guy is never going to leave. Here's the thing. Bob Iger is never going to fully leave Walt Disney until he leaves this world. Till he leaves this
Probably.
earth.
He's going to find some way to, and if this doesn't work or something else, he's going to try to find a way to shoehorn himself back in.
Absolutely. They said this time the company appears determined to avoid another public misstep. Disney's board
Tell Iger to shut up.
Yeah. Disney's board, now chaired by former Morgan Stanley CEO James Gorman, has spent much of 2025 running an intensive internal search designed to produce a clear winner and keep the rest of the senior leadership team intact. Two execs have emerged as the clear frontrunners: Josh D'Amaro, the chairman of Disney Experiences, and Dana Walden, co-chair of Disney
And I'd argue Dana Walden is only there because she has tits. And I'm a woman saying this because I don't think she's qualified by any means.
Yes, I think she would be an absolute freaking disaster, but they would do it to be like, hey, look, we have the first woman CEO of Disney. She is the one who, would not greenlight shows because they were too white. And she's like, oh, yeah, it would have been a huge hit, but,
She's not even in charge of entertainment herself. She's a co-chair. She runs the streaming stuff and the TV stuff.
D'Amaro's a 27-year Disney veteran, oversees the company's largest and most profitable division, the theme parks, consumer products, cruise lines, and expanding gaming portfolio. Under his leadership, Parks and Experiences have become the financial backbone of Disney as linear television revenues have eroded and streaming services continue toward sustainability. Yeah.
And people love D'Amaro.
Most people like him. He actually has that spark about him that I think Michael Eisner had, that you could tell he still had a respect for what came before for Disney and the Disney process. And he seems like he's very much part of the Disney culture. Walden just strikes me as another Hollywood executive.
She was brought in with the Fox acquisition.
Yeah, she's not homegrown Disney. She was grafted in, and it shows because there is a difference between the people who worked with Disney for most of their careers and then the people that they just bring in.
She's an Iger suck-ass. Is what she is. I mean, I'm going to be honest, because like when you read about what went down behind the scenes, according to reports and stuff, she was the one when she was taking her nightly walk with Iger after he was gone from the company. So she's his neighbor,
whispering in his ear.
Yes.
Yeah. So they said they're worried people are going to quit, though. They said, there's some other senior leaders who aren't serious contenders. They said to minimize turnover after the decision, Disney's already extended contracts for its general counsel, chief financial officer, and heads of communications through 2029. Discussions are underway to lengthen deals for the other direct reports to Iger with potential new titles, expanded duties, and richer compensation packages. What happens a lot of times is when there is a change at the top, the underlings leave because they're like, I don't want to work with this new guy.
So they're giving them more money to stay. Meanwhile, they're raising prices on everything. I wonder why.
Yeah, I know, right? They said, whoever ultimately takes the reins is going to inherit a company in the midst of a profound change, a $60 billion decade-long expansion. They're not doing shit with this decade-long expansion of the parks.
Okay, just real quick, I want to take a little side tangent here because I just did a thing about this today. So they put out a thing that they're doing that with the animation, the old launch bay. They're going to put that animation, Disney animation experience in there. And you're thinking, okay, they're going to talk about, they used to have, they made Mulan there. They're going to talk about that kind of stuff. No. From what they've released so far, it's going to have 6 sections based on, based on storyboard, layout, all that stuff. But it's going to be flipping character meet and greets. That is the layout section made to look like, go back up, make it look like a multi-plane camera. And it's just cheap-ass cardboard wood cutouts of trees. So they're doing this. I'm telling you right now, the reason they're putting this in there, and it's just some little stupid, it's Fairy Tale Hall, Princess Fairy Tale Hall 2.0. They're doing it because they got Muppets Courtyard closed down for the new Monstropolis, which should have gone there. But if it put it there, they didn't have an overflow area. And they have the Rock and Roller Coaster is going to be shut down to be converted to Muppets. So where's everybody going to go? We're going to use character meet and greets to try to draw crowds because they will. And we're just going to do as cheap ass as possible because it's a temporary thing, just while we do construction to pull people off the street. That's what it's about. So you're not getting anything. I don't think you're getting anything big animation, at least nothing that's been announced so far, other than, look, it's made to look like an animation multi-plane camera, but it's a character meet and greet because it's cheap.
So, this looks really budget cut.
It's cheap. It is meant to be a way to pull crowds. So because they're going to have everything else down. That's what this is for.
I'm just waiting for the AI, the anti-AI people to come in because I'm like, this guy's only got 3 fingers.
You're slipping. You're slipping, Disney.
Yeah, right. Yeah, God, the best use of that space is a very quick side tangent because we've got to wrap this one up. But you could have put Mickey and Minnie's in the animation building. It would have made complete sense.
You could have put Monstropolis there because it's tied right
it's the animation.
The Pixar area.
Yeah, and you would have come out of Toy Story Land into Monstropolis.
Well,
that made the most sense.
Yeah, I know it does, but they're not doing it. And the reason I think they chose what they chose
sense.
is because, and it does make sense now, they chose what they chose because they're going to use this area as a cheap ass, throw it together. Oh, it's going to be with the sorcerer hat in front of it and everything else to try to draw crowds there because they have the other construction areas are going to be a huge problem because it's going to take a lot of the crowds that usually would be in those attractions. So you need something cheap and quick and dirty, and that's what they just did there because then it'll the character meet and greets. People will line up for it. They'll probably need their not fast pass now, the lightning lane for it to go in, and they know people are going to go to the stupid character meet and greets, and it's just basically to suck up crowds while they can do construction. That's what this is. It's thrown together to be a crowd suck.
Where's
not
Ray?
In a pleasant way.
Where's Ray? They finally get the launch bay. Where's Ray?
Yeah, well, launch bay is gone. But that's why they didn't put Monstropolis there, which would have worked better.
It would have
made they needed a place to put people in the meantime.
God, that's just, I mean, I get it to some degree. You have to look at logistics, but it just, I mean, I would love for Damara to be put in charge. I have a feeling they're not going to, though. I think.
Oh my God, they put her in charge. They might as well kiss their company goodbye because I do not think the shareholders are going to be okay with it unless it's a co-CEO situation. Because when they were asking people the reports like Bob Iger getting mad and uppity and wanting it to be, he's like, well, you don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. A lot of the investors and stuff were happy that they thought it was tomorrow. So I think if you make it her, you're done fucked. Unless you just make it a co-CEO situation, which I honestly think as an investor that's a better way to go because they both have their strengths and this way they stay in their strengths. And that is a good thing for the company. I think Iger stretched too thin, and he's, it's basically the will of Iger at this point. I think co-CEO makes the most sense as an investor, but if they put her in, I'm pulling on my stock. Forget it.
Yeah.
You're toast. I'm done.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.